So something strange is happening, even though unemployment is low. And some people say the economy is doing okay. Take a look at what is happening. 46% of middle class workers are slashing or cutting out completely contributions to their retirement funds. Here's why. Take a listen.
88-year-old Jacqueline James taught public school in Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania for 3 decades before retiring in 1998. You worked for 30 years. You paid into your pension every month.
Every single check. You pay into Social Security and your pension. You knew you were never going to make a lot of money, and you knew that you were building your retirement.
Yet, through a quirk of state law, she and about 70,000 other retired public workers in Pennsylvania have had zero cost of living adjustments in over 20 years. The $25,000 a year she gets now is the same it was then, while the cost of living has nearly doubled. She's given up cable TV, cut out some of her favorite foods, even stopped buying mulch for her flower beds.
I do less and less and less. I'm always figuring, what can I stop doing now? What can I stop doing now?
Of course, most of today's workers won't have pensions. According to the Federal Reserve, just 22%. Far more common now are retirement accounts like a 401k, where the burden is on you to save enough to last a lifetime. Just a ways up the road from Stroudsburg, Victor Martins and his son Jonathan run a family construction business. Do you feel ready to retire now in this economy?
No.
You've got a 401k and an IRA?
Yes.
Do you think that'll be enough for you to retire on someday?
I don't think so, personally.
And that's even though they are saving. Nearly half of American families have no savings in retirement accounts at all. That retirement insecurity explains some of today's pessimism in a strong economy, says economist Teresa Ghilarducci.
We don't have a pension system that's designed to last for as long as people are going to last, to 90s and 100s. We're putting people in little boats and floating them off into to the ocean and saying you have to take care of yourself.
For many, Social Security is a lifeboat, but was never meant to be the sole source of retirement income. On Victor Martin's job sites, business is brisk, but he worries about the future.
We've diversified ourselves. I've got an IRA. We're putting money back into the business. So hopefully I can still take a paycheck from that.
Diversification is no longer an option for Jacqueline James.
I'm disturbed, I'm disgusted, and I don't know that I can do anything about it.
She's left to hope the law changes so she can finally get a raise.
Yeah, and yet we've come to a realization that many people are left with just Social Security. Social Security, when and if you get a letter, do they still send out letters? They send you this. I had to Google this. This is from ssa.gov, directly from the Social Security Administration. Social Security statement tells you how much you or your family would receive in disability, survivor, or retirement benefits. It also includes a record of your lifetime earnings. Check out your earning history and let us know right away if you find an error. This is important because we base your benefits on our record of your lifetime earnings. Social Security benefits are not intended to be your only source of income when you retire. There's a little bit larger there. They're not intended to be your only source of income when you retire. That's the key word there. So that's the big thing there, is that Social Security is only meant to replace part of your income. If it were meant to replace all of your income, they would have had to take much more out of your paycheck to basically fund this pension type system that Social Security is. And then people would have complained a lot more when they were working that there was too much being taken out of their paycheck. On average, Social Security will replace about 40% of your annual pre-retirement earnings. You will need other savings, investment, pensions, or retirement accounts to make sure you have enough money to live comfortably when you retire. To view your statement online at any time, create a My Social Security account at myaccount.socialsecurity.gov. One of the problems maybe especially nowadays. I don't know how long this has been, people have been feeling this way. Nearly 2/3 of middle class Americans say they are struggling financially, gasping for air. Americans are feeling pessimistic about their finances amid ongoing inflation, making it particularly tough to save in addition to Social Security. Because remember, Social Security is basically a pension type system. They take money out of your check and they basically save it or invest it for your future self, your retired self. Imagine what life was like before the Social Security system, before that pension type system. Okay. My father, who worked at a grocery store for like 40 some years, had a pension as well. He had Social Security and a pension. What that meant is every paycheck, they took two sets of money out of his paycheck. Okay. They took Social Security out of his paycheck and they also took the pension from the grocery store out of his paycheck. Okay. So remember, a lot of people say, oh, pensions are so great. They're so great. And in a way, they are. But remember, they took money out of his paycheck, every paycheck, and saved it for his retirement. Okay. So he actually paid into that every paycheck, very similar to Social Security. And he probably got a company match as well. If you're working right now and you get 401ks are actually very, very similar. Okay. Especially if you get a 401k match, you should be taking advantage of that. Okay. Because it's the same thing. You would take money out of your paycheck, every paycheck, and save that for your future self. It's very similar to Social Security. It's very similar to a pension. You just need to actually do it. You have to be diligent and invest in yourself. Remember, you're doing this for yourself. You're not doing this for anybody else. And you also got to remember to not panic when you see every little dip in the down market. You have to be diligent and you have to think like Warren Buffett and not be scared of every little dip. You have to, if you've been watching me for a long time, you know you've seen graphs like this. This is a graph of the S&P 500, which is currently around an all-time high. So again, that's where like you could ask people and some people could say the economy is terrible. Some people could say the economy is great. Again, it's all in the eye of the beholder. Stock market and Wall Street are near an all-time high. You look at this chart of the S&P 500, which is the top 500 companies in the United States, and this graph since the 1950s to the to today. Look at this graph. Okay, from the 1950s, S&P 500 was at 25. Now it's at 5,046. So this is a lifetime graph of if you were 75 years old, this is your money you'd be a multi-millionaire for roundabout numbers if you just put your money in and invested throughout time, and you would just be worth a ton of money. Another good graph to look at, I like to look at this because it's a good indicator of how companies are doing, how the economy is doing in one kind of indicator. The Dow Jones index near an all-time high. It was a little bit higher a few weeks ago. But again, if you look at the click all here and you go back to the 90s, say, 30 years ago or so, it was at 3,200. Now it's near 40,000. Okay, it's at 38,700. It was just almost at, it actually did hit 40,000, a little bit ago. I don't know, a month or so ago, right? Okay. Whenever it was, recently, right? So, had you have just been investing over the years in your retirement fund, your money could have grown from 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, whatever it was, to now 40,000, despite the dot-com crash, the pandemic, all the scares, the ifs, ands, or buts. But you had to have not been worried about this downtick, that downtick, this downtick, that downtick. Despite all these ups and downs, look at the resilience of the US economy, at least in this regard. at least in this regard. This is where your money could have grown and you could have been inflation proof, at least with this regard, with your money growing in this regard. This is how the people get wealthy saving for their retirement, right? Just putting money in for retirement and letting it grow as they save for retirement, right? Because Social Security is not enough. And Social Security Administration tells you this personally right on the letters that Social Security is not designed to be enough. It's not. I think we all know Social Security is not designed to be enough. You have to save in addition to that, whether it's a pension in addition to that, a 401k, an IRA. And what do 401ks, IRAs invest in? Stocks and bonds. So you guys can let me know your thoughts on this, but when you look at those graphs, they grow over time. Over time. It's not a get rich quick thing. It's something that you put your money in and let it grow, and you don't panic at every little dip and turn. If you're not saving over time, and you gotta find a way to save some extra money, get the good job, and find a way. Find a way. That's what wrestling taught me, when I was a 16, 17, 18-year-old self, is that find a way to become your best self and find a way to make it work and to become what my Rocky picture back here, to become your best self and always strive to be your best and find a way to be your best self in life. um, and this is what the constant strive for knowledge has kind of taught me throughout the years. And this is one thing I kind of like to teach people, um, wiser people than me, books that I have read. And one thing I like to read online is the Bogleheads. You can Google that. It's kind of an internet forum where a lot of investors go on there and kind of talk about things. Uh, you guys can let me know your thoughts on this, but one thing's for sure: inflation is eating away at a lot of things, and people got to do something. People got to do something because a lot of the same old isn't working for the average everyday American. And if you're not saving for retirement, um, Social Security just is not going to be enough for everybody. So thank you so much for liking and sharing these videos. If you haven't yet, subscribe down below. Click the bell icon so you don't miss out on new videos. Click here to watch my video about, is higher minimum wage good for America? It's a good video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.